Okay, we're now on to activity 2.12. Let me just get a drink. Notice that the goal of these activities is not to create a rectangle that's a solid, but to understand these features, such as clicking the F button to get everything back into your screen, or by changing the reverse direction. These are simply ways of getting to have you understand what the system does and how it works. Okay, so we're now on to activity 2.12. We're going to edit the gasket placement in space. Also another important thing, this is another way to move the origin if we need to, okay? Edit where the gasket from activity 2.11 sits in space by changing the geometric relations that currently constrain it. Okay. What do we want to do? We want to edit, open the sketch that defines the Boss Extrude. So we're going to come into here and we're going to just edit this, edit the sketch. In order to edit this sketch properly, we are going to need to have the planes back on. So I'm going to turn them on. Okay, is that okay? Yeah, that's done what we want it to do. By the way, if you feel hyper anxious about this idea that the plane is not intersecting these other ones, you can just grab these little dots and move them down. Okay. All right, so what is this telling us to do? This says, delete the relation that requires the bottom right corner of the rectangle to be coincident with the origin. Well, now just go back here to our normal view for a minute. We got a couple of things going on here. We have 5 relations in here. There's vertical, vertical, horizontal, horizontal, and coincident. I can just right-click on this coincident thing and delete it. Now it's gone. Now my geometry is turned blue again, meaning it's ambiguous where it is in space. And we're going to now do whatever this thing tells us, okay? Right-click on the delete, blah, blah, blah. We did that. In the Feature Manager, click on the coincident relationship. Okay, so actually what this was wanting us to do, let me just actually see if I can Control-Z this. Okay, what this was wanting us to do, and it's good that we follow the activity the way it's written so that you can get the learning that you need from it. We wanted to go in here and look at the display delete relations. Okay, and in this one, okay, I Control-Z'd out of moving this thing around from an ambiguous state. Okay, let's get out of that. But I did not delete so far back as to get to the origin. So let's just add that one in there. Okay, so originally what we had done is we grabbed this point, and then we hit Shift, and then we went over to the origin, and then we let go, and we got to this thing, which made it coincident. That's what we did earlier. Of course, we did it a lot slower earlier. Okay, just hit OK on this so that we don't see the preview there anymore. All right, now we're back to where we were before, and we need to follow the instructions. So we want to edit this and look at our display delete relations. And there's one of them in here that we don't want anymore, and it's that one. It's this coincident one. So I can either right-click on it and delete, or I can just delete it from down here, or I can probably just hit the delete button. Let's see what happens if we do that. Okay, you cannot hit the delete button, but we can just right-click and then hit delete. Okay, now let's see. Which part am I on? Okay, notice that the lines have turned blue. That's right. See, these lines have turned blue. That means they're no longer fully defined. And that the bottom side says underdefined. These are really important things to get to learn. And also notice that you can grab, click and hold anywhere in the box and move it if I get out of this thing. Okay? And I can move it around. Place the part in space such that the origin is at the center of the rectangle. Do this as follows. Click on a line and choose and select the midpoint. While holding Shift, also click the right plane. Make the principal planes visible if you need to by using the Hide Show icon. Release Shift and add a relation and choose the coincident relation. If you don't see the coincident relation, you have not chosen the midpoint or the horizontal. So let me show you how that works now that I've read what we need to do. Maybe this is a better way for us to do this, okay? This one here is the top plane. If I hover on it, it will tell me. This one over here is the right plane. And what I want to do is I want to go grab the center of this. Okay, if I just stand right by it, right near the center, the thing will pop up. And if I go on top of it, it will tell me that I'm about to select the midpoint. See, right now, I'd be selecting the line. That's what the icon next to my cursor is saying. If I move right here, it'll select the midpoint. So I have hopefully just selected the midpoint of that. I'm going to hit Shift, and I'm going to do the right plane, and I'm going to let go, and I'm going to make these coincident. Great, that has just put the right plane right in the center of my gasket. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here somewhere, grab the middle of this, and I'm going to grab this top plane, and I'm going to tell it to be coincident. And this has now put the origin right in the very center of my part, and my part is completely black, meaning it's fully defined. All right, now like I said before, if you're feeling sort of anxious about this, which I'm feeling a little bit anxious about this, I'm just gonna move these around a little bit. I'm not moving them around, I'm just extending the visible space. These planes exist in, infinity directions, basically, out to infinity in all directions. What I do is get normal to that. I can now see this sort of line that's similar to what we're seeing in the guidebook. Okay, so now let's read what else we did here. Add the same kind of constraint to the vertical edge. Now the sketch is fully defined, accept it, and save the activity as 2.12. Okay, so coming up here, I'm going to hit save as a 2.12. Okay, excellent.